Hey, and welcome to the Baseline FaceTime podcast. We've got a lot of good content for you today, so stay tuned and go ahead and hit on that subscribe button for me. So without further ado, let's hear the boys do what they do.
All right, people, welcome back to the Baseline FaceTime podcast. I am your host, Manny, with Troy, of course. Welcome back, Troy.
What's up, man?
First off, we got to talk about something in the room right now. What is up with your trucker hat? I just realized this.
What's up with it?
Yeah, what's up? You look like a hillbilly.
It's dope. It's actually a rapper's hat, believe it or not.
It's a what?
It's a rapper.
A rapper?
A rapper's hat.
What rapper?
Joseph Sojourner. He's like very, very unknown.
I've never heard of him.
Very unknown. He's a Christian rapper.
Oh, that's why.
And it stands for "Am I Flying or Falling?"
Oh, okay.
Top. Yeah.
I like the. I guess.
But it does. It's a little different. You don't think that it's You don't think that it would be a rapper's hat. It looks like a trucker hat. You're right.
Yeah, you look like you're about to drive a big Ram or something. I noticed it as we were starting. I didn't comment earlier on it.
Yep.
Yeah. So you went away.
I did for a couple weeks.
Where'd you go?
A couple weeks. Went home to North Carolina and Virginia. Both of those places. Went upstate New York for a few days.
Wait, oh yeah, that's right, you did.
Yeah,
I remember that. Why did you go to North Carolina?
Before that, so I had a wedding to go to.
Who got married?
Shout out to Cameron Bullman getting married.
That's what's up, Cameron.
To
Congratulations.
Kayla, last weekend, 2 weekends ago, and got to see my parents as well. Got to see some friends. It was a good time. But man, we haven't been together on the show since like the 16th,
if you allowed me to come and crash the wedding like I was supposed to. So people don't know, I knew Troy was leaving in advance and stuff like that. I really wanted to crash the wedding. I was just going to go to the reception. I was going to try to blend in, try to do my thing. Like everyone's seen the movie Wedding Crashers. It's possible. But yeah, so in the span of that we were gone, we have a lot of news and a lot of things to catch up on.
We do.
I think we haven't been together probably since the beginning of the first round of the playoffs.
Yep,
so
that's right.
It's been a while because now we're coming close to the conference finals and we're getting ready for the NBA finals. So basically, before we get into all that, I want to talk about, because, 2K. That just dropped.
Last week.
Wait, quick thing. Happy birthday to you. It was Troy's birthday too, guys.
And yours, 2 days after.
It was. Yeah, it was. You're the 4th?
So we both celebrate birthdays. Mine the 6th, and Manny's on the 8th of September. And but here we are coming at you on September 11th.
Yep. Troy's old. He's 24.
24.
That's like the new 30 now.
25 is the new 30. I'm dreading next year. So I got 360 more days.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, who's counting?
Yeah. You are, apparently. But yeah, 2K. What have you had a chance? Actually, I've just seen you.
You walked in on me playing 2K.
Yeah. With no shirt on, too. So this is exactly what I walk in on Troy doing, is I just see him like this. Sup, dog? I just see him with no shirt on.
It's the new normal, man. Okay. When 2K's been out for like a week, you got to expect it. I guess I like it. It's not really any different. I'm really just looking forward to, it coming out on the next gen systems, I guess. Right. I've played some in the neighborhood. The biggest like pet peeve I have with it is the jump shot.
I can't shoot. It's terrible.
And it's not like I hate the meter or anything like that. Like I can get the meter right, but they don't go in.
Yeah, it's very weird because I've noticed it on my team, because you're a my part guy, I'm a my team guy. So I noticed on my team that even because you do the 2K camera angle, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure most people do. But I realized either my eyesight's messed up or the meter just looks so far away where I can't tell where it is. So for me, what helped me was I switched the camera angle to a low driving angle. Okay. So now it looks like you're playing really basketball, like with the one character. Like I guess. Yep. And I noticed that the meter's bigger on that one, so it's easier for me to shoot on that thing.
Interesting.
But in all honesty, though, I'm very upset with 2K. Okay. I'm not every year
with like the my team aspect, or
my team. I think they did a pretty good job with. Okay. I'm not really. It looks pretty improved. They added a lot more content. They added some stuff that I wanted since the early days of like 2K15. My team of like collections. So basically, if you like trade in rewards, kind of like how Madden does. So if you have like enough amount of silver players and bronze players, you trade them in. You get like a ruby or something like that. So I thought that was really cool and a unique aspect that they added. Mm-hmm. They have a Seasons Pass in it, which is crazy to think about.
What's that?
So basically, you know how like Fortnite, you would get like a Seasons Pass?
Yes.
But you don't pay for this one in my team. It's all based on like rewards and ranking up, and it's free, and you would get like a great player at the end of the season.
So a pass gives you just more cards?
It gives you more cards and like other things like consumable packs, like contracts, diamond sneakers, stuff like that. And the end reward is a pink diamond Steph Curry, so it's a 96 Steph Curry. You're obviously going to grind to get it, but like one thing that was really unique that was brought to my attention was you just don't play games and get XP. Mm-hmm. You actually have to do challenges.
Okay.
And the challenges are sometimes a little ridiculous, or they're just a little too much or tedious. And it's too much. I don't have time for it.
Yeah.
It's like,
so that's new. That's
it's
like
very
a new
new.
aspect
Yeah,
of it. Okay.
I had to wrap my head around the whole idea of it, but I realized there's one card I want in this season. It's a Amethyst Scotty Pippen. I want it so bad. I want it so bad.
Well, I hope you get it.
Yep. So how do you feel about my park, by the way?
It's nothing too new. I mean, I haven't played a ton yet. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's decent. Again, the meter thing. I still get upset because guys will come down and they'll make everything. And my guy, he's got like a 90 mid-range, 90 3-point already, and
right.
I can't make shots.
Now, did you pay or did you grind?
No, I don't know if I'm relying on badges. A little bit of both. And I found a little VC cheat. By the way, I can tell you about that later.
Okay.
Don't need them coming for me. I know. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, but yeah, it's okay. It's nothing. New, nothing too different, nothing spectacular.
See,
but
that's what I'm going to lean into.
It's fun.
The fact that 2K, a lot of people don't know this, but they just lost a big developer. I can't remember his name. I was reading this article, but it's a big deal for 2K to lose a developer because their development team isn't that big to begin with. It's just not. 2K, for whatever reason, it's the same. I think they look at it as like it's the same thing every year, so we're not going to dedicate too much time to it because they still have the same servers.
They clearly didn't, yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty much it's a reskinned version. It's like you play Call of Duty, you just add a different skin on the weapon, it looks new to you, right?
Okay.
So basically, EA acquired this developer, and this developer, the lead developer that they acquired, used to work for them. And if you remember back in the day, you're 24, so you're old. EA used to be the game to play. Right? Before 2K. Like, everyone looked at 2K as the whack little brother.
Yep.
But now it's completely changed.
Yep.
And everyone's thinking, is EA going to make a comeback? Is EA going to attempt to try to dethrone 2K with a new lead developer that understands how 2K works and, most importantly, has the skills and the team? Is like EA going to put more behind it?
Okay.
Because, with EA, it's like they accept coming in second every year, it feels like. I tried going to EA. It's terrible. Yeah. I didn't like it.
You're right. It's time, if they're going to keep producing an NBA game, it's time to step up or change something or
the
compete.
Reason I found out about it was because the developer posted something on YouTube where it was like the I'm Coming Home song by Puff, and then basically it was the EA logo coming. But in the process of doing that, I think they started a war because 2K just got, I guess, a licensing deal from the NFL. There we go. I had trouble. I was going to say NHL, but I was like, no, that's wrong.
NFL next year?
For next year to do a football game.
So, like Madden, 22?
I believe so. Yeah.
Or not Madden. It won't be Madden, but
yeah.
While that comes out.
It'll probably take two NFL or something like that. Yeah. So, now that's kind of starting to work because EA had a whole lock on the NFL game.
Yep.
Completely. There was no other thing for it.
Yep.
So,
I remember 2K way back in the day with like Terrell Owens on the cover.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 2K. I don't even know what it was, but I would buy it. I mean, I think if they can compete, or I would definitely try it because I'm not in love with Madden myself.
Right.
So I think I would try
about Madden?
I would try the 2K version
because I don't play Madden like that.
I don't know. I don't do Ultimate Team or anything like that. I don't do much with Madden at all. I just play like head-to-head kind of stuff. Yeah.
Kind of like get the guys over and play.
Yeah, and so Madden hasn't changed in a while. Interested to see how it's going to look on the new console.
Right.
But it's a pretty decent game, and there's probably reasons that it hasn't changed because it's good.
Yeah, of course.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I would definitely try out 2K, and 2K came out with a version of golf as well, PGA Tour.
PGA Tour.
I picked that up. That's a pretty fun game to play.
You actually enjoy playing it?
Yeah. I'm getting old. It shows because I'm playing golf now. So
can I be real with you? It's so funny you mentioned that. I played golf recently. Yeah. I went to a driving range, Country Fair on I think it's like 112.
Yep, I know where. I've been there.
And I was like, man, I suck, but I'm actually enjoying this. I think that was a sign.
That's how I felt. Golf. A couple weeks ago, I played golf when I went home. Terrible. It's
something relaxing though.
Yeah, it can be. But I hate when I play terrible. So I got to get better if I'm going to keep playing.
If anyone doesn't know Troy's a sore loser at anything. It's not fun. But yeah, I mean that's what's going on in the 2K world and the 2K realm. What out of 5 stars would you give 2K for this year? I feel like it's a solid 3.
I think 2K, like if this was the first version of like 2K you ever played, it'd be like 4.5.
Yeah.
But given the previous years and stuff, probably like a 3.
That's fair.
The one thing that normally changes year to year in 2K is the new rosters, of course. And, of course, rookies drafted, trades made, free agents signed. Mm-hmm. That hasn't even happened this year. So I think that's one other aspect that has hurt 2K. We're still in the previous season, and we have the new game. It's never before happened, and yet so that's making an impact on them a little bit, I think. And I'm sure I don't know, but haven't looked at sales or anything like that, but I'm sure they've gone down a little bit even because of that, and because the new system's coming out. Some people I've seen are waiting for that. Yeah, and I don't blame them.
Well, what you could have done, too, to continue the 2K talk was buy the next generation version, and you would get a standard edition of this year's. Yeah. So that's what I did. So I'm waiting for the next gen to do that. But to get away from 2K real quick, let's talk about... I noticed that you put something on here, the all-defensive, the Billy Donovan. Do you want to get into that?
Yeah, we'll get into that. So just to kind of give people a heads up of where we're going today, we're going to get into just talk about the all-defensive teams, recognize those guys, Defensive Player of the Year, some coaches getting the boot, and then we're going to get into each of the conference semifinal matchups, kind of just give an update as to what's going on there, even give predictions. And the last
Can the Sixers do it?
Shut up. And the last one that we're going to get into is the one that is heading to a Game 7 tonight here in just a couple hours on September 11th. The Raptors and the Boston Celtics. That's going to be the last one we're going to chat on and preview, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But the all-defensive teams, I don't know if you saw those, came out earlier this week, last week maybe. First team was Marcus Smart and Ben Simmons in the backcourt, followed by Giannis, AD, and Rudy Gobert. Solid squad there. I think all deserving of that. Ben Simmons making his first appearance on an all-defensive team.
I don't watch Ben Simmons enough, so I feel like he doesn't deserve it, but at the same time, I haven't seen enough of him to
led the league in steals.
Really?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. And then second team, a guy that you like, but he's the LA other guy, Patrick Beverley. So, and then joined by teammate Kawhi Leonard, Eric Bledsoe. I knew he was decent at defense, but a little surprised.
He's not a bad defensive player.
Surprised by that. Bam Adebayo, deserving of that as well, and Brook Lopez. Mm-hmm. And I think the general snub around the entire league, and JJ Redick talks about it on his podcast, is his teammate Drew Holiday.
Wait, JJ Redick has a podcast?
Yeah.
What's it called?
I think the JJ Redick podcast.
Really? That's it?
I think so. It's good. He's got a lot of people that come on.
All right.
It's pretty decent.
But he's got the pull.
He talked about, and one of the quotes that he made regarding Drew Holiday was like, and it's a valid point. He says when the census around the entire league is that like Drew Holiday's the best defensive guard amongst the players community, that should have a vote in he should be an all defensive player. Like he gets so much respect in the league for how he plays defense, and he was probably snubbed.
He's a good defensive player, no question about it. Like I've seen him play. I think because he plays with the Pelicans.
Yep.
So I mean, I always keep an eye on the Pelicans due to Lonzo. So when I'm watching the games, I see him and I go, he's such a good.
He's good.
He doesn't have to be on ball defense to be good. Mm-hmm. He's very good at placement and like certain type of things off ball as well. He definitely deserves an off-ball pass Hall of Fame on 2K.
Mm-hmm. He's good.
Yeah.
He's good. So he got snubbed. That's just been something kind of circling around the NBA was about, him not making an all-defensive team. Other news and notes. So we talked about on the last show, Brett Brown, Sixers head coach, getting the boot. And
it's about time.
Another notable one is Billy Donovan in OKC. I think it was more of like a mutual thing. Agreed to part ways, which is interesting because the Oklahoma City Thunder very much so, by all aspects, overachieved this year. Getting into like the 5 seed.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I think...
Well, everyone thinks they overachieved.
I don't think they overachieved. I think they ended up exactly where they were. And what I mean by that is when you have Chris Paul surrounded by talent that isn't as good as him, Chris Paul's obviously going to carry them to the promised land, and the other
promised
team.
Land.
By promised land is getting just a step. Yeah, that's basically what it is for Chris Paul.
Okay.
Because Chris Paul isn't like.
Yeah. But I mean, just general predictions, preseason experts, they weren't supposed to make playoffs, and they made it in a higher seed.
That's true.
That's all. I mean, and you can, if you thought they would, props to you, but they overachieved. They definitely didn't achieve to a place where you thought that Billy Donovan would be gone.
I think he's just tired of the Thunder.
Maybe.
I think because the Thunder have their front office seems a little messy. Because how are you gonna have 3 league MVPs and they all part ways before it's too early and stuff like that? So obviously, I think there's something fundamentally wrong with the management there. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't surprise me.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll see where he ends up. I do not think he'll be on the coaching block long. I think someone will snag him.
He's a good coach, man.
He's a very good coach.
Do you think he'll end up going to the Sixers?
I would love for him to go to the Sixers.
So who are the Sixers debating on right now? Or who are they meeting with?
The leading candidate, at least prior to Billy Donovan, coming out earlier this week, was Tyronn Lue, who is already a Philadelphia legend. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, the step over. I was going to say.
Dude's already an icon.
He's very famous for just being LeBron's towel boy. I mean, I don't really.
So I'm not crazy about Ty Lue. I liked Brett Brown, and it's hard. He's a likable guy. Maybe not necessarily like.
There's a difference between being likable and being a good coach.
That's what I'm saying. And he wasn't a bad coach. I mean, he stuck with us through the process years where we were literally historically the worst team in the NBA like ever for like a 2 or 3 year stretch. But I'm a little sad to see him go, but I definitely understand, and it was kind of probably time.
I think it is. He's a good coach, but he hasn't been to the promised land, so he doesn't know how to get there or what to do or to adjust on the fly of how to get there. You know what I mean?
And the one thing about Ty Lue, I think he's a decent candidate. I mean, he's not like the one that I'm crazy about. I think I would much rather have Billy Donovan, but you never know until you get one of them. So we'll see what happens and who the Sixers are able to fill with that spot.
Yeah, man. I mean, I really hope you guys get a good coach, because if you guys get a good coach, you guys have the right pieces, you guys could potentially make the playoffs. I mean, the finals, and then the Lakers could take you out there. But to get away from that, we got to talk about the big whale that was shocking everybody. The big Moby Dick, so to speak. The Bucks, on how they just blew it to Miami.
Yes. Let's
what are your thoughts on that?
Let's chat about it. So Miami wins that series 4-1.
Yeah.
My thoughts on that are first, wow. Crazy series. No one. The Miami's first round matchup with the Pacers was sort of kind of a toss up.
Yeah, which is
and
very
they swept them.
Yeah.
And then they come out and take a 3-0 lead against the Bucks, and then they end up winning it in 5. Jimmy set the tone early in that series. He dropped 40 in the first game. He had those 2 free throws late or at the very, very end of the clock, nothing on the clock, to win the game in game 2.
Right.
I think he had another 30-point game in game 3. They went up 3-0. So Jimmy got his thing on, and they went off. Very impressive.
Jimmy's about it. I don't give Jimmy enough credit. He is about it. He's got the dog in him. His whole team has dogs in them.
Yep.
But honestly, this does more to hurt. I was gonna say AD. Giannis more than anybody. Think about all the pressure he's been feeling already from the media.
Yeah.
And now to get eliminated when you were supposed to be a finals contender.
Well, this is another year of it. They did the same thing last year, except they didn't. They fell a round shorter this year, right? They made the conference finals, but
they got killed. And against a team that you were technically supposedly had more talented pieces around.
Oh yeah.
So that's.
I think most people, when it came to this series, were thinking Bucks in 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Everybody was
Bucks
thinking that.
in either 5 or 6, and the Heat won it in 5.
Yeah, the complete. It was completely swing on the opposite sides of the pendulum, which was crazy to think about. But what do you think? If you were the owner of the Bucks, what would you do now? Because obviously you got to be concerned, because now your star player, your franchise player, not only can he not shoot, he's gonna have confidence problems now. Most importantly, he's going to be entering free agency, I believe, near the end of this year.
Next year,
because
he's got 1 year left on his current deal, and at the end of this year, he can
test free agency, which he has decided
to
do.
No, he can go for the Supermax contract.
Yeah, but that was you have to go to free. You can go to free agency. That's what he's decided. I heard that's what he decided.
But he's not a free agent this year.
No, by the end of that next year, though. So think about it, though. Aren't you a little concerned? Wouldn't you, as an owner, be concerned? Because
of course.
What would you?
And even if there's not a reason to be concerned, you're concerned because he's the best player in the world, and you don't want to lose him, and you want to keep him on your team. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is for them.
Really?
No, I mean, I would try my hardest, and obviously they're going to. All the Bucks can do is offer him the Supermax contract. You don't think they can try and build, and they can try and have pieces around him, but at the end of the day,
that failed because they did that. They built a team around the person who couldn't shoot. That's what it was.
So what are you saying?
They built I find it very ironic that the one thing that they tried to help him with was the fact that he couldn't shoot, so they got shooters around him, right? You know, Brook Lopez, stuff like that, and Chris Middleton, of course. But now it's like all the offense, every time he steps out on the floor, most of the offense runs through him. But it's what they basically did was, I feel like what Miami did very well was copy the Spurs strategy in 2008 against LeBron when he was with Cleveland and sag off of him because that's all you really had to do. I mean, the closest comparison that I think I could do for Giannis right now would be a very tall Rajon Rondo because he can't shoot. So it's like, why?
The disrespect.
It's like what they said. Right now, where do you think he is?
Disrespect.
Do you think he's Jordan, or do you
I think
he's
Pippen?
Pippen?
I think he's a back-to-back MVP, and Pippen was never a back-to-back MVP.
I'm just saying though, if you can't shoot,
okay, so clarify that. So what I need you to do,
right?
And what I've always wanted, and people keep saying the Jordan Pippen thing. What does that mean? And then I'll give you my answer. Like, do I think he's the greatest of all time? Like, that's Jordan, or is it?
Right.
Or is it?
I think what people
is that saying first option or second option? Like, what is that saying?
That's what people are trying to say when they mean Jordan or Pippen. They're saying, can he be the first option? Can the ball be in his hands at the last quarter?
Well, I think it's saying just flat out, can Giannis be the first option? Can he be the best player on a basketball team that wins a championship?
And I'm going to say right now, no.
I say yes.
Why?
Because he's the best player in the world.
But look how the best player in the world performed in the playoffs. And it's like playoff times matter more than regular season.
Of course it matters more. Of course.
I mean, you could say he's a great regular season player, which is fine.
Of course.
But
he's the best. He's the best player. He's the back-to-back MVP. Like, I'm not saying, like, I don't. Who are you going to have that's going to come in and be a better player? Like, Giannis is not a sidekick.
LeBron James.
Giannis isn't a sidekick.
If you had to pick a team, are you going to take Giannis or LeBron?
What do you mean? Right now?
Right now, who would you pick after seeing these playoffs?
To start a franchise?
No. Just if there was going to be a 1 and there's going to be a 2, who is going to be Batman? Who's going to be Robin?
LeBron would be the number 1, of course, because he's LeBron James. But, I'm saying realistically, you're not going to bring in LeBron James to Milwaukee.
In this scenario, no. We're not talking about in this scenario. I think we're talking about in general characteristics of who's got the dog in them and who's going to lead a team. And Giannis just doesn't have it.
Okay.
He just doesn't have it, which is sad to say. And now this has got to hurt his confidence. And most importantly, the bubble is going to affect him even more, I think, because not only can you not escape after having a bad game, you're going to be surrounded by your peers that are going to judge the shit out of you because they're going to be like saying stuff. Like, imagine going against somebody like Patrick Beverley and hearing all the trash talk he would say to you. But, like, my whole thing is, like, I heard if he, at the end of his contract, if he doesn't do the 5-year extension and stuff like that, a team might potentially get him because they have enough salary cap to.
Miami.
I think they do have enough salary cap. I was thinking more of Dallas.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like, I think Giannis needs to fix his jumper, and he needs to go to a team where he can be mentored by a good coach, and most importantly, be number 2 for a little bit.
Number 2 to who?
Anybody that has a dog in them.
If you're the MVP of the league, that means that there's no one in the league that you're a number 2.
Yeah, but MVP and then winning a finals are 2 different things.
I agree. Of course.
100%.
Of course.
So just because you're the MVP doesn't mean I trust you with the ball in your hands. I mean, look at James Harden. James Harden doesn't have a dog in him. I think he shies away.
But that's not necessarily what it means to be a number 2.
Number two means, to me, if you're not mentally prepared in this situation, in this scenario with Giannis, it means not being mentally tough enough to get over this mental hurdle that I feel like he's going through. Especially with you see what I mean now?
Kind of.
Where are you getting lost?
I don't know. To me, it's like black and white. But
that's the thing. There are no black and whites. There's gray areas too.
Giannis is the greatest player in the world right now.
I say LeBron James is.
Okay.
Or Kawhi. Kawhi's better.
Okay.
Or KD.
Okay.
KD,
okay. No. Okay.
I'm seeing you get flustered. It's hilarious.
But it's just like, he's going to win the MVP for the second straight year.
Is he going to win a finals?
No, of course not.
Then who cares?
But
the MVP.
Most valuable player. I understand, I get where you're coming from saying that, finals is important. It's vastly important, and Giannis needs to do that to build his resume. Giannis will never be a Rushmore player without finals, without multiple finals. But, what I'm saying is Giannis is that good, and he will, he can definitely be the best player on a championship team, in my opinion. No, he was not this year. No, he didn't lead them this year or last year. But like that's not all on him either, right? Like,
okay,
you know what I mean? Like LeBron, when he was with Cleveland the first time, he didn't get it done. Right. Like it's kind of reminds me of that. And Giannis is very young. He's very, very early on in his career. And, may he go somewhere like LeBron went to Miami. LeBron was still the first option in Miami. LeBron was still.
No, he took a step back to D Wade.
Wade was Robin on that team.
No, I'm
LeBron
was the better athlete and the better player.
And who won the MVPs?
To lead the team, it was D Wade.
What does leading the team mean?
I guess LeBron apparently, from what I heard, was calling out plays more and when he got to Miami and stuff like that. But from what I heard from interviews, and LeBron James said to himself, they went to Cabo after they lost to the Dallas Mavericks in 2013. And then LeBron apparently didn't leave his room, but eventually called up D-Wade, let's go to Cabo. And then he goes, hey, man, why don't you just step up?
Okay.
Oh, wait, no, never mind. You're wrong. No, never mind. It was the other way around. Never mind. I think it was D-Wade called him and said, you need to lead the team.
Okay. That would make more sense.
But to have the support of somebody, because they were fighting for control, because they didn't know who was going to be leading that team.
Yeah.
D-Wade's already done it.
Yeah.
LeBron was trying to figure it out.
Well, I think even
then, D-Wade already won in 2006, so he had the blueprint idea of how to get there.
Of course. And I think, too, we're talking about, in some ways, two different things, like two sides of the same coin. We're talking about one side being a vocal leader, being like the locker room guy, being like, the guy that people turn to. The other end that I'm more talking about is like just being the best player on the basketball team is what I'm talking about. Like that's my number one. Like you're talking about in a leadership perspective, which Wade is a tremendous leader.
True, but
I'm talking about like LeBron. When he went there, it's not like not that he stole the show, but like he was the guy.
Yeah, of course. I get what
that's
you're
all
saying.
I'm saying.
But with Giannis too, I think it's hard to compare apples and oranges because they're very different scenarios.
Yeah.
But I would say with this, because I heard from a source. Think about that. Who works in the bubble, and he was going around the practice facilities, and he saw Giannis practicing free throws. He airballed 4 of them. An MVP the leader, a final person shouldn't do that. You know what I mean?
Not.
So I think for me, I think where we're getting disconnected is saying I think he has a mental problem, and I think Kyle Lowry experienced the same thing, right? When they were the Toronto Raptors, they he was reading self-help books, he was trying to get over the mental, but once he won that ring.
Look at him now. Look what he did in Game 6. Yeah,
so much from being, I think, a Houston Rocket who was known as a chemistry killer to now leading the Toronto Raptors to potentially an Eastern Conference Finals.
Yep.
So I'm saying you can't be the guy if you have that mental block. It's like James Harden. James Harden's a great player, but if you can't do that. Like mentally, then you're not going to go anywhere.
And that's another side of it too. Like there's a different conversation to be had when it comes to leading and like what you're going through mentally and what you've experienced so far in the league, and kind of like your track record there. When you think of even like a Kyle Lowry, is kind of a similar. Kyle Lowry and when Kawhi came in last year is kind of a similar situation, on a smaller scale to LeBron going to Miami. Because like Kyle Lowry established there in Toronto. They love him. Fan favorite is similar to like Wade.
Okay.
And, Kawhi came in and became the best player on that team, though I'm sure Kyle was more of a voice, especially for that brief period of time. And so kind of a similar thing with D Wade. And so I think even like if Giannis goes to Miami and, teams up with Jimmy Butler might still be the vocal guy. He might be the leader. Especially if they go and win a finals this year, like they're going to love him. But Giannis would still be like that player, and I think Giannis is personally, I think he is talented enough to be like to win a Finals MVP. Is what I'm saying. Meaning that they can win a Finals.
I just can't see them not winning unless he knows how to shoot. I'm saying
I know I'm not disagreeing with that like assessment. Like it'd be a lot easier for him to win a Finals if he could shoot better, but.
No, I just don't. I think he needs to win in general, especially if the role players around you who are designed to shoot can't shoot particularly all the time, or maybe they have like an off night. Then that looks bad on you. And plus, of course, Giannis is getting the brunt of the criticism.
Yep.
And most importantly, what was even worse, I feel like even more of a confidence killer within that series when Giannis sat out because he rolled his ankle, right? He rolled his ankle.
He rolled it in Game 4, and Middleton took over in the second quarter. He rolled it before that, but he tried to play in Game 4. Middleton took over. Middleton dropped like 30-something to win Game 4. He didn't play Game 5, and they lost.
Yeah, so it's like your team winning without you because they have the ability to shoot and there's more offensive threats because we're not running through the offense for you. That's got to hurt some
more
confidence.
Floor spacing and things like that.
Yeah, with better, so that's what I'm saying. It's
well, it really would have if they forced Game 7 or won Game 5 and 6.
I'm just saying if I was the Bucks organization, I'd be a little concerned. Especially for franchise players playing like this and you've built the whole team around him like this.
Yeah, I mean
that could set you back 30 years. It could set you back 3 years.
It's an issue. Yeah. It's an issue that they're going to address as a front office. Let me read this quote. We got to move on somewhere else.
Yeah, gotcha. But real quick, people in the comment section, let you know who do you agree more with, Troy, me, or whatever your own opinion is on this whole Giannis situation and stuff like that. But continue.
So Giannis, kind of in response right after Game 5, I believe, in response to like trade or free agency or max contract, all of that. You probably saw this. He had a quote. He said, "Some people see a wall and go in another direction. I plow through it. We have to get better. We have to get back to it next season," is what he said in reference to his future and his future with the Bucks. So we'll see what happens.
Giannis said that. Mm-hmm. All right.
We'll see what happens. So obviously he's he's set there for next year, and that's what he means by getting better. But we will go out west and come back to the east to wrap it up, like we said earlier. But your Lakers dropped Game 1 against the Rockets, and then they have since reeled off 3 straight, looking to close it out tomorrow night. Thoughts, comments there?
I'm not worried. I know we're going to win. Like the Houston Rockets, not only do we have a height advantage on them because they play very small, it's James Harden, I noticed it in this year's All-Star game. In this year's All-Star game, can we just acknowledge that it was the
best one ever?
Best one ever because it was competitive.
Yeah.
And I noticed in those competitive moments, James Harden, when it's getting close, because they had a set amount of points they had to hit, so everyone's trying to hit that.
Yep.
James Harden was passing. He was passing to other people that wanted it. And plus, we've seen him in the playoffs not perform very well. Yeah. I think he's a good player. I just don't think he's...
Yeah. Well, you saw what he did in a pivotal Game 4 yesterday. They could have tied the series at 2. No, they could have tied the series at 2. He had a 21-point game, but that is in 2 of 11 shooting, and he got lucky. It was 16 from the stripe. So he had 16 free throws, 21 points. They could have tied it 2-2. That's the series, like 3-1.
So he's at the free throw line, and he could have tied it, and he didn't?
Yeah, that's he... Pivotal Game 4, you can tie the series at 2. You can make it an actual series, competitive series.
Right.
And he came out and shot 2 for 11, like you're saying.
He's not the guy.
Yeah.
And I think, it's funny, too.
And
Russell
he hasn't
Westbrook
been in the playoffs.
Is the guy mentally, but physically, he's not the guy.
Yeah, and he's got injuries. And he's dealing with some stuff.
That's the whole thing, too, about, athletes, too, is you get 2 athletes. Mm-hmm. You get someone who's physically gifted who mentally has to learn how to get it and never really naturally has it, or you have somebody like a CP3 who mentally is tough enough and maybe his basketball IQ is just another world. There's someone who really understands the sport as well, but physically just doesn't have it. Think about that. Though you're either one of the two.
Well, there's a lot of even rumors circling around that the Sixers are going to try and get him along with his coach, Billy Donovan. If they can get both of them, that'd be sweet.
Oh, you guys are going to the Eastern Conference hands down.
If they get him.
There's no question about it.
Because then Ben Simmons can truly play the 4.
Yeah.
And, it would make a big difference.
And Embiid's going to be a defensive monster on that end. Yeah. If he stays healthy and stuff like that.
It would make a big difference.
And plus, I can't be honest with you, CP3, nobody wants to play with him, but,
yeah.
I think he'd be a good leader for your locker room.
Yeah. Well, just the fact that, it was ugly, the fact that he ends up in Oklahoma City in, this rebuild kind of thing. You're like, poor Chris Paul. And then look what he's able to do this year. Yeah. Pretty impressive.
Well, again, it goes back to my theory of I think Chris Paul can play with talent below him. I just don't think he can play with people better than him.
Yep.
That's my theory on Chris Paul.
All right. Then the other series out west, Nuggets and Clippers. Clippers are up 3-1. They look to close that series out tonight on the 11th. You think they close it out today?
Against Denver?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. And so even some notes there. It was a big game from – Game 3 was exciting in that series. So Game 3, playoff P, pandemic P, Paul George, whatever you want to call him, dropped a 30-something. And Kawhi had that one-finger block on Jamal Murray late in the game. Do you see that?
No, I didn't actually.
Yeah,
What
it was pretty wild. So it was late, tight game. So again, the Nuggets had a potential to take a 2-1 lead in that series in this game, and I forget the score. Minute 40 seconds left. Jamal Murray tries and bangs on Kawhi at the rim, and Kawhi gets just a finger on it. His middle finger is the only thing that touched the ball, I'm pretty sure, and he blocked it. It was impressive.
That's
and then
awesome.
They went on to win that one. They won a couple nights ago, and again, they're trying to close it out tonight. And I want to know your thoughts. I don't know if you saw Michael Porter Jr.'s comments following Game 4.
What do you say?
So to sum it up, and I want your opinion on this before I give mine, but to sum it up, he's sitting, I don't know what the question was, but he gets into kind of like the offensive game plan from the Nuggets, gets into this scheme, and he got a ton of flack for this from around the league. Like Damian Lillard was like, he quote tweeted it or whatever. A few other people did around the league and were like, you can't do that, you can't say that. But basically what he did was kind of call out his coaching staff, like, we got to get more people involved. He said, and obviously the focal points of that team have been Jamal Murray and Jokic. And he's like, those guys are great players. Of course they have to be the main points of our offense, but we got to get more people involved, kind of calling out his coach like, hey, give me the ball. Right. Because he was like, in credit to the Clippers, because this team is way too good defensively for us to just for them to know what we're going to do kind of thing. And he,
because you know where the ball's going to go.
Yeah. And so that was basically the gist of what he was getting at. And he was like, we got to come up with a better scheme or a different plan. And he got.
Do you want a hot take?
He got a lot of hate for it. So what's your take on that?
He's not wrong, but the way he executed it was 100% terrible. As someone who,
that's more of an inner locker room kind of thing.
That is something you leave behind in the locker room, and you don't bring it out to the public, because as like a leader, you're not supposed to. Everybody has like a role. You don't have to be like a leader, but there's certain things you just don't do, and it's hard now because now he's built up a reputation of going to the press whenever he doesn't get his way now, because that's basically what it's perceived as.
Yeah.
But I guess for Michael Porter Jr., it's kind of forgivable because isn't he like 19?
I mean, he's young, 20, 21, 22. Maybe.
Oh, he's 20?
Yeah.
Oh, he needs to grow up. Never mind. But he's not wrong in the sense of how to, I guess, come up with a better scheme, but you don't bring it out to the public. That is something you just never do.
Yeah.
What was your thought on it?
I mean, I agree with you there. I just think it was blown out of proportion. Like, I didn't have as big of a problem with it as, the public did in the way that they perceived it. Like, yes, there's a better way to handle it, but it's not like he sat up there and was like bad-mouthing his teammates saying like, these guys suck. Like, we need to go somewhere else. He's just saying like, hey, I get it. These are my teammates. These are the best players on our, offensive scheme. But like, if you look at the Clippers, we got to come up with something different. And he's saying that after they go down to 3-1.
I think what he said is a chemistry killer.
Yeah, of course. And again, I think it, like you said, it's better to handle that in the locker room. But I didn't have as big of an issue with it as like some of these other NBA players calling him out. That's all.
I think it's not something that should be taken lightly, but I think it's something that should not be taken so seriously. I think it's right in that weird gray area of the middle area of how important is this. Yeah. I mean, only really the Denver Nuggets locker room could really know, because we don't know if that comment really opened Pandora's box for them. Yeah, we can't judge because we're not there with them. Mm-hmm. So I think it's in the gray area. I do think what he said is right. I just think his execution about it was terrible.
I agree. All right, Game 7. Best 2 words in sports. We get a Game 7 tonight coming up rather soon. Celtics and Raptors, phenomenal series, obviously, so far.
Yeah.
Just to kind of give a few notes on that, and then we'll talk about it. So Tatum, strong in the first couple games. They jump out to a 2-0 lead, and then OG Anunoby hit that shot with Taco Fall on him with 0.5, or Taco Fall on the inbound pass, hit that shot with 0.5 seconds, and then after that, the Raptors gained confidence. They're like, the Celtics messed up for giving us that one. They come out and tie the series at 2. Celtics win 5. And then the double overtime game where like 8 or 9 guys played 50-plus minutes in Game 6. And the Raptors were able to prevail. Kyle Lowry went off in that game, had 33, 8, and 6, and a couple steals. And again, that double OT game. So who you got tonight? What's your take?
This is a series that if you're a basketball fan, you have to watch.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say right now because two teams, both of them really want it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, one's the defending champs. The other one's a young, hungry team. So it's really just perfect basketball. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of the Toronto Raptors, but I know if the Lakers go to the finals, I would prefer the Celtics.
Okay.
Because they're just easier to beat.
Mm-hmm.
And
so basketball fan you is rooting for
the Toronto Raptors, but Lakers fan is rooting for the Celtics because and plus it's better as a Lakers fan to beat the Celtics, being a part of that amazing history to say I got to see the Lakers beat the Celtics in like 2020. Was it 2021 or 2020?
2020.
Okay, just making sure because I was thinking about the 2K titles. That's why.
Oh yeah.
So one thing I noticed more than anything about this series is the Celtics don't know how to rotate at all, man. Really? I noticed with their defense, they're very slow on rotation, and they're not really calling out who should rotate to where, and that has cost them some points late in the game. I've noticed that, and it's killing them. And I think, in all honesty, Toronto's probably going to take it because they got that mental edge, and this is the farthest I think the Celtics have made it in like a while.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. We'll see. I'm for the Raptors myself.
Yeah. I bet Carla's rooting for the Raptors.
I'll give them an advantage. Oh, yeah. Yep, she's probably rooting for the Raptors. No doubt. And I think an interesting thing to look for in this one is Kemba Walker is coming off his worst game of the series. He had a 5-point performance in 52 minutes.
Really?
Yes.
That's bad.
That's bad.
I didn't realize how bad it was.
5 points in 52 minutes of played in that double OT game. So look for him to be aggressive early. You know, a guy like him who's hungry, who this is his first ever like real playoff shot experience. He won his first series.
I feel like it's more of his team because he's the oldest one on that team. Oh, yeah. So I feel like,
especially with Hayward out. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it could be obviously a big game from Tatum, but I think if Kemba comes out and plays well and doesn't drop 5. I think they can win. So I think he's probably the X factor in this one. What Kemba are you going to get? Should be a good one tonight. And then to potentially meet the Miami Heat in the conference finals. I think that's another reason that both these teams are hungry. And again, the Heat have played well. They're 8-1 in the playoffs, but like they don't have to play the Bucks, who are if the Bucks came out and did what they were supposed to do, like there'd be a little fear there because of the historic year that the Bucks have had. So I think they're hungry, and I think they think that obviously both teams think that they can make the finals and potentially win the finals. So we'll see what happens.
I'll say this: Kawhi's got some magic, improve your team voodoo dust or something, because this team has not slowed down at all since he's left, and
I cannot explain it.
I think it's because Kyle Lowry now has the blueprint to be successful as a team leader. I truly believe that, and especially being around Kawhi, it's only improved him so much. Yep. And I'm a fan of him now. I was never a fan of him, and now I'm a big fan of him. I look forward to using him in 2K. His jumper's pretty good.
Who, Lowry?
Yeah,
I want to
get my team.
But yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. Another, I think even.
So wait, so who do you have advancing? Toronto?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes, but if Kemba comes out, if Kemba and Tatum are both on, I think they move on.
Okay.
Regardless of how well the Raptors play or who puts up what, just kind of,
I think if the Celtics do move on, they're gonna get destroyed by Miami.
Do you?
I truly believe that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Raptors, what would they beat Miami in your opinion?
I think they would. Obviously, no, I think it would be.
Obviously, we'll cross that bridge when we get there on another show.
That's tough.
But I think Raptors are more of a chance to move on.
Yeah, I guess. Chance. Because if Jimmy Butler's coming out there playing a bully ball with those young Celtics, they're gonna get embarrassed. They're gonna get beat up. They're gonna go for loose balls. They're gonna go for dives. Yep. They wouldn't be ready for it. That's the reason the Lakers lost in 08 against the Celtics, was because they were just physically tougher. Mm-hmm. They weren't ready.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Celtics are young. Heat are young. Raptors have some young guys in there with Van Vliet, Siakam as well. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. So that's the outlook on the Eastern Conference. Of course, we'll get to the Eastern Conference Finals when that comes up. A battle for LA appears to be on the horizon in the Western Conference. You ready for that?
No, not really. But yeah, I'm a little nervous, but yeah.
But we'll, of course, preview that as well. I'm not sure when the conference finals are going to kick off. I guess early part of next week, potentially even Monday, Tuesday, somewhere in there. I'm sure they'll kick off with the conference finals. So maybe we can get an episode in before that. Who knows? We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah,
We might just do a little update in the conference finals.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Got anything else?
Quick overtime segment, because I know I brought it up earlier. I literally found out about this about like 2 hours ago. But basically, Netflix is doing a coach documentary. And basically, it's going to be all the coaches around the world and what their philosophies are in life. So they're going to have Doc Rivers talk about the Donald Sterling thing that was going on at the time. They're going to have Serena Williams' I guess, tennis instructor or coach. I don't know what you call that.
Okay.
To come on and talk about greatness there. They're going to have Cristiano Ronaldo's team coach come on.
All over the map.
Yeah, and then they're going to have another coach from the college level. I think she's leading a certain team back-to-back.
Okay.
It's a college tournament. It's the women's division. I don't know what that's called. But I'll find out when I watch. And it's the executive producer by LeBron James and Mav Carter, so you know it's going to be awesome.
Sweet.
I'm very excited. It comes out on the 22nd of September, and it's called The Playbook. Yeah, so it's coming up. Wow. I'm excited to watch it. I love coaching. And Doc Rivers has a fire quote, which I'm taking. He goes, I'm not going to coach you on who you are now. I'm going to coach you on who you're going to be. Yeah. I thought that was a fire quote.
That is a fire quote. So look out for that in just under a couple weeks. The Playbook on Netflix. I have to check it out.
Yeah, man. I think we hit everything tonight, though. We're done.
We hit it. Yeah. Good to be back. That's for sure.
Definitely good to be back.
We'll see you in the conference finals, and everything that we've previewed is set.
Yep.
Get your popcorn ready. Looking for a battle in L.A., in Orlando.
Yeah, basically.
All right.
In Orlando. Oh, yeah. So, also, leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube.
That's right. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Peace.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the Baseline FaceTime podcast this episode. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe.